if we're bringing someone to the, bringing someone to the party, the company's going to do their part on that end. So one customer can turn into five, right?
Is everyone aware that they need 3 customers to be commission qualified? Like, so it's a very basic, because everyone has 3. Now we're all founders here. So as 3, right? Everyone's getting is it 3 match just as a digital bank branch?
It's 3. Yeah, it's 3.
Yeah. So those 3 are 9 for you. And all that swipe volume, which a lot of us, and I guess not a lot of us, how many of us on this call had the cards for a little while and we're using them and swiping them and could see the power of what was going to happen with just a few people? I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay, that's when we're so hung up on this pool, which is amazing. This community pool is amazing. But what they keep telling us, and I don't think anyone really recognizes here, is that is just gravy. That's just a little extra, that the power is in really getting as many card members as we can. I have approached it. I approach it always all together. But at the minimum, ask them to be a card holder and try it out. And I could always go back, right? I approach it as all of the above. But I will say that everyone that when I decided when we needed customers, I was like, I need customers. I attempted to get them, and every single customer I attempted ended up being a digital branch. So
Right.
maybe a good way to go about it is trying to get customers and they decide they want to do the business.
There's some newer people on here that came in somewhat later, but Trish is referring to, we did have our cards for a while. And there was I believe it was a Monday corporate update. They said, go ahead and look in your back office, and the cards, all the cards that were attached to your account that were in circulation, it showed the actual card swipes and the commission you earned in the back office. And that to me was that was it. Because I could look and see 8 cents, 16 cents, 26 cents, 12 cents in a handful of cards that just happened to be at that time connected in our organization. You could actually see it. And now there's the potential, or the likelihood, the realization is there's going to be thousands of cards attached to all of our accounts. That's going to be the norm, not the exception. And to be able to know that those 6 cents, 8 cents, 12 cents all day, every day, out of thousands and thousands of calls is that's a big deal. That to me was everything. When I saw that, I said, oh my God, this is it. This is it. That was the eye opener.
Absolutely. Well, you guys, we're only at 7:40. We're supposed to be collecting questions, but you got anything, Jeff? You want to open it up? He's muted.
I wanted to make sure I wasn't muted, which I was. You all will get to know me that I always start talking before I unmute myself. Always. If you know me, that's what happens. You all are all of you familiar with quickest route to get to VP? Show of hands. Yes. I see some hands that are not up. Okay. So it is just 39 DBOs to get there. That's 13 people per your first 3 legs, your first 3 that are there. And the way to do that is set a nice expectation how quickly you can move. Speed is important here, and speed to get to VP is important here. We were at the launch, and one of the most touching stories was the single mom that basically back was up against the wall. She had little to no income, was struggling. She made VP in 17 days. Amazing feat. I don't know if anybody could ever beat that. That was just amazing for her to do that. But straight up, the messaging to the people you bring in is give them guidance. Look, it takes, go get your first 3 and then train them to get their first 3 and then train all of them to get their first 3. That sounds real simple, and it is, but you have to get them plugged in. They have to get knowledge on what they're doing and what they need to say. And what really works is third-party validation. So getting, when they're talking to people, give them just enough to ask them, can I get 20 minutes of your time? I want to meet you. I want to introduce you to my business partner in this, who knows way more about this than I do. And I just want to put you in contact with them because I think you would just love talking to them. It's as simple as that to get a third party. And then you set up that third party call. You do edification where you talk about who you brought to the meeting, you talk about who you're introducing them to, and you edify them. And then you zip it and you let that person do all the talking for you. I know, Annabelle, you can probably talk at length on this topic. So you want to chime in here a little bit?
Sure, about using the system.
Using the system to do edification, do the third party calling.
Yeah, so Michael the other night had a meeting with us, and he talked about the high tech, high touch, and literally our you can say our new high touch is really Zoom. And I know a lot of people, we can't replace the touch of the human being. That's for sure, right? And that's so important. But because we do live in a social media and a digital world now, and the times really after the pandemic, right? Everybody has really embraced this, working from home. I know that Trish and Lacey do a beautiful job in Utah, really having those meetings at home, and that's where the high touch happens. But believe it or not, the events also, we just came back from a 3-day conference, and how beautiful it was to embrace most of the team members that are here, that we go back to another opportunity. It was just really, really amazing. I had never met the handsome Brian Howard, and I met him for the very first time, and wow, the super handsome Jeff Myers. I haven't seen him in 5 years, and to be, breaking bread with him and the table, I mean, you just can't replace that, right? The beautiful Colette Daniels. I mean, each and every one of you that were there, that we haven't seen each other, right? I met Steve with the Y for the very first time, and wow, to really see now the person and be able to touch him, right? It's just really, really beautiful. And I talked about the other day about getting reaching for the buried treasure, right? So when you're doing the 3-way, I always do video. I have to see the person. That's really, really important to me, because when you just have a voice, it's just my opinion that sometimes people are not even listening. But if you have them on a FaceTime or a Messenger video or a WhatsApp video, where you can have up to 4 people, it's a beautiful tapestry. And I can only talk from experience that the average of you bringing on a new team member, whether it's a TCM or someone that's going to join the organization, it just heightens. That's really what I can tell you, because now they really have a face. And I mean, isn't that tremendous for you to be able to do that? But in touching what Jeff says, it is really important. I personally, only if they speak Spanish, because I don't have my power line, anybody above me to speak Spanish, will I do it myself? But otherwise, I don't. A lot of people think that I, do the plan, show the plan, show the plan. I think it's really important that we say, when we're showing the plan, it's really about someone else showing the plan, because you are not a prophet in your own land. It is true, people will come on. I think there's a higher ratio when you're doing like a home setting, right? Like what I know specifically Trish does that, right? But for a lot of us, maybe that doesn't work, as far as being able to do that and bringing someone onto your home or going to a local business. But it is very true what Jeff Meyer says, that we should not talk very much, just the 3 E's. Be excited, always be edifying. Edifying what? Edifying the person, edifying the company, edifying the belief, edifying the industry. When I say the industry, I'm talking about relationship marketing, because at the end of the day, it's about, relationships. But what does that really, really mean? Well, that we pour our hearts into the people, right? And that we're genuine and authentic. But I just say, have you heard about the green card, right? And I make a joke out of it, or, recycling your dollar. I got that from the wonderful Mark Langley, who I met also. And they say no. And I said, well, I'm working with a dynamic group of people, and you just have to hear their music about this, right? That's exactly what I say. And I just say, will you come on a Zoom? When they hear sometimes Zoom, I got to tell you guys, when they hear Zoom, sometimes it's a little bit too much. They believe that you're taking them into a meeting now. So I just try to make it more like, can we see each other? Right? That's what I say. And sometimes when they say no, I just say to them, would you do me the courtesy? Would you do me the courtesy? And people want to help people. So I said, would you do me the courtesy to look at that? And I promise you to be open. Shall you come around with anything that you might be a participant in, that you're passionate about? And I'll tell you, almost to 100%, I get a yes. And all I'm doing is letting them take a look. And when we get on the call, I just edify. I normally edify backwards, which means that I edify my guests before I edify my power line. And I just like making them feel special first, because it gets their happy hormone going, which is the dopamine, right? So once I get them happy, then I edify who is presenting for me. And then I go on mute and do what the wonderful Jeff Myers just said. Shut up. So back to you, Jeff.
Oh, thank you. That was golden nuggets. That was beautiful. Thank you very much. There's 2 words I started putting into my my talk with people, my initial talk, and that is FINMO. And I go, what's FINMO? I go, financial momentum. I help people create financial momentum. Those 2 words, they latch onto. It's like a magnet. So I wanted to also offer up one of the things that Colette does, because she is in contact constantly with one of the founders, Peter Rancy. She can bring topics to Peter that she's hearing from the field, and he invites and likes those. One of the ways to do that is if you have questions or you're finding problems with the system, any of our business systems or anything, one of the ways to do that is to send a question, and Colette is kind enough to have given us an email address, which is in the chat right now. I just ask, if you're going to email a question, that you put in the subject line question. So when Colette gets 1,000 of these emails a day, that she can go filter on question and have them all in one spot. So one simple word, question, in the subject line, and her email is in there. It's called Being You Never Felt Better @gmail.com. Let me talk a little bit about questions, or when you find things. My full-time job, I'm in high tech. I've been doing a number of things. One of those things along my career path has been software development. And in software development, when you report bugs in software, you want to be, when a developer gets a bug report, here's what they hate. This is broken. Button didn't work. Nothing, right? If you can go in and describe the page, take a screenshot of it at a minimum, talk about the steps you did to get there. If you have a question or a problem, you've run into a snag, or you found something that just doesn't flow right, that's an excellent way to report a bug. The same goes for questions. Ask questions, but give enough background in the question so that you can give whoever's going to address the questions a little bit more to go on. Can't see text. It means nothing, right? So things like what browser you're using is important, because when they develop software, browsers sometimes act differently. Fonts might be bigger in one, or they might be smaller in one. So they really have to account for that in coding. Business process is also a good one. If you're understanding business process, understand the business process. If you continually trip on something, they can change the process. They can add a piece of software in, for example, the slider in the Z store. Colette was pointing out today that the slider is often difficult to see. Well, in software, they could solve that temporarily, or that they could solve that in a way like this. If someone's in Z store and they haven't used the slider, they can pop up a little window that says, hey, you haven't used the slider at all. Perhaps consider using the slider to reduce to add Z dollars to your purchase and lower your purchase. And then they'll have an OK button to go away, and then people will go and use that slider, and it'll be a learned business system that they may not be able to fix software wise. Now, in that box, they'll probably put a little tick in there that says, if you check this, never show me this again, because you've learned the lesson enough and you don't need that anymore. So that's a nice way that we can help them, particularly if you're tripping up on a lot of things. So business process, you can ask any question you really want in those. And what Colette, and perhaps some of us will be helping Colette to collate those down into groupings of questions that can go be addressed by the corporate. And they may end up coming out in a corporate call as an explanation, because they got 50 questions the same, so let's answer that one. So just wanted to kind of give you a little background and a little bit of content. If you're going to go ask questions, ask good questions. Okay.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
You guys, we forgot to spotlight a couple people.
You're right.
So I'm looking around and I want to see, if you guys don't mind, if your camera's on, I'm thinking you're open. Have we ever met Amanda? We ever had a spotlight on Amanda? Like, what brought you here? What excited you about Transact and got you to decide to join us?
No,
Ooh, let's get her off mute. Hold on.
You got to turn the light on and everything. There you go.
Can I hear you? You're still muted. Can you unmute her, Jeff?
How about now?
Gotcha.
Okay. Hi. Well, Steve was the one who kind of got me and my husband, who's being more shy over here, on board. So we're actually both DBOs. I'm done having kids now, and I've been a stay-at-home mom. So this was just kind of fell perfectly in my lap at the right time.
Perfect. This is the absolute best thing you could do from home.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
You're
It was
welcome.
actually brought on by Claudia Bavaro, but I was a three-way call we did.
Okay. So you see how you do the three-way call. You just got to connect people to Jeff. Pretty simple, right? I mean, Steve, excuse me.
Steve.
Yep.
I know me and Steve look alike. Michael, I believe Mr. Bird was also someone that was new, if I'm not mistaken. Let's hear from you. Where are you, buddy?
Hello there.
There you go.
I got in back in June 16th,
Ooh.
and I know there's value, and I know that this is a great opportunity. Esther's my support person.
Our adopted support.
Adopted support person. I'm not in your team, but everybody's so sweet, so nice. We appreciate it. Unfortunately, I have a hard time getting a hold of my upline, but it's okay, because I listen to everybody else and I take everything in. And you can't put anything above everybody else. You can only do what you can do. And that's what Angela and I do. So we're just very supportive and appreciative. And that's about all I know to say right now.
Oh, thank you. First of all, I want you to know there's no downline, upline, sidelines. There's none of that in this team or this community, this company, which is why I love it. That's the one thing they said over and over and over at launch. And so anything that anybody does benefits all of us. And so I'm so grateful that Esther brought you in and you're here and you're part of the family now. So thank you for showing up. And yeah, we'd love to see you on all these calls.
Thank you.
I'd
Mhm.
love to edify them both a little bit because their determination, they saw it online through multiple YouTube videos, starting with Michael, actually, was the first one that they saw. Sent a message. It's probably tucked in his Facebook Messenger in the back, right? Because they weren't friends yet. But they just kept looking and kept looking. And that founder deadline was coming up and they just found someone and enrolled. And then when they weren't getting the support that they needed, they just kept looking and kept looking and they found ZTEAM. And they just kept calling people and kept calling people. And Michael is a veteran and I very much appreciate his service. And we've been able to learn a lot about each other and just perseverance. That's the one word that these two remind me of is perseverance. So I feel just blessed to know you.
Beautiful. So amazing, Esther. You know what? That reminded me of a story. You guys, we are just 90,000 people have heard about us, right? And how many people are in the United States? Jeff, I think you told me today, was it 300 million or something crazy?
I was just going to go to this story. You run with it.
Well, I have a different story because I didn't even tell you guys this. So this is about Lacey Johnson. Her screen's off, but when we were at launch, so when I'm telling you we're not at critical mass, I mean, we are in momentum. I've walked into gyms and heard people talking about Transact. I had a meeting for something else and someone had already heard about Transact. Like it's getting spoken about. It's going to hit. We are just in the baby phase of it. But Lacey Johnson was at launch with me and she looks in her office and she's like, I got a new DBO. And we're like, who? She's like, I don't know. I never heard this name. And she's like, it must be a mistake. It must be a mistake. Or someone saw my link and like, maybe they upgraded from, like, she had no idea. So she like found this guy on Facebook and his message in the back and contacted him and like, we got on a Zoom to like meet him. He was on some like websites where someone had paid for a sponsored ad. He tried to sign up with whoever was on the sponsored ad. He can't even tell you, it wouldn't go through like 3 or 4 times, but he saw that on the video, they said it was the deadline. And he was like, oh my gosh, I want to do this. Same thing. He felt compelled to get into this spot. And he did a Google search and Lacey had done a post on Facebook. And so Google pulled her up. And he looked at her profile and it said she was a digital branch bank officer. And he's like, she looks like she takes this seriously. Okay, I'm going to go for it and hope I get the support I need. And boom, she had a new digital bank, you guys. We don't even know, like everybody's spreading the word and the seeds are being planted and they might not even be from you. So the more and more this gets talked about and shared, there's going to be times when it's just going to flow. And so that was a story for me that I was like, all right, that's really cool. Right, Jeff? I mean,
Right.
What's the odds? He lives in Texas, like totally a different state than us. So now she's like going to start in Texas and he doesn't even know who it was. It was just some random ad on Latter Day something radio or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So just think we really are a big community and whatever happens or whatever people are advertising, whatever, it might end up helping you. Right, Lace? I see you turned your camera off. You have any words you want to say?
No, and the only thing I wanted to add to it was that when we talked to him, we did, I did let him know, hey, even if you come in and you want to go find who it was that you wanted to sign up under, we'll still support you however we need to, because we all are all one, right? And he just kind of said, I feel the energy. I like you guys. I want to, and so I still wanted to make sure I stayed true to who I was, because if that happened to me, I would hope somebody else would say the same thing, right? Like, hey, if you want to go with that person that initially piqued your interest. But he's like, I don't even know the girl, so you guys called me, got a hold of me. He was just happy that I had reached out to him even at launch, and so yeah, so it was really cool. But I still want to stay integrity too of like, hey, if you want to go with that person, that's fine too, and I'll still get you the info. So yeah, it was really neat though. I really thought it was an error. I really did. I was like, this has to be an error, because I turned to Trish and said, if all of a sudden you have a new DBO that you have no idea who it is, that's when you've like well, I kind of was like, you made it, joking around. But then he was real. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm there. I've made it. So let's keep going.
Just say our gratitudes and move on. Yes.
Yep.
Right way. And he's like, I don't know who the person is, but like, if she wouldn't, how many people would have just never done anything, not reached out, not figured it out? She took the initiative. I'm going to build this relationship. I'm going to see the story. I'm going to see what happened. You know what I mean? So yeah, sometimes it be like that. So it was beautiful. Okay, I think we have time for one more. And Joy already was in our chat and said she's new. So I want to see, Joy, what brought you here to us? I'd love to hear.
Hi. Hi. Yes, I was brought in by Jeannie Moore. We were actually with UFF, another company. She brought me in as a client with UFF, and then, very nonchalantly was like, hey, by the way, have you heard of Transact Card? Let me introduce you to this as well. And so I admit I sat on it for like 2 to 3 weeks. I think Jeannie's on the call with us tonight, so she can also testify that I sat on it for a couple of weeks and kept pushing it to the back burner. And, I was just extremely busy, had a lot of things going on. And finally, she followed up with me and was like, really, really, I really think you would benefit from this. Just take a few minutes and like the next time you have any spare moment, pay attention to what I'm sending you. And I'm so glad that I did, because once I really logged in and paid attention and got a grasp of what it was like, whoa, like I wish I would have paid attention sooner and could have been in Vegas and like already have my card. That would be so awesome. I don't have my card yet. I joined last week. So I'm 1 week in, and I'm sharing with just everyone possibly that I know, and could kick myself for not finding out about it earlier, because Vegas sounded phenomenal. But I'm just really excited to get the ball rolling now and try to move those ranks up as much as possible by 12/31.
Ooh, great to have you. Sound like you get it. You see the vision. You're a go-getter. I love it. I sat on it too. To be honest with you, Colette told me, and I thought, yeah, I'll offer it when it's ready. I'll offer it to some people when it's all ready. And it took someone else coming in to my team that I told about it. And they like took it very, very seriously. I was kind of nonchalantly like, yeah, this thing crossed my path. And she got on a plane and flew out from Texas to Provo and sat down with the founder. And then when she saw it, I was like, okay, this is serious. I need to start paying attention. And so absolutely, this is a big business, and this is something you can integrate into anything you do, which how amazing is that? It doesn't matter what else you do. You can add this and integrate it to what you do, because everybody uses a piece of plastic.
Right. I'm a realtor. My job is real estate. So that's my job. So yeah. So now I'm like, all my realtor friends, guess who's going to start getting phone calls from me? Yeah.
I had a 3-way last night with someone on Lacey Johnson's team and Amy's team who is a mortgage broker. And he's like, all of my business season stream of income is a downline. Like you guys say you don't have a downline, but in mortgage, like I have a downline. Like this is how businesses ran. And so I love when real estate agents or mortgage brokers come in, because they just see it and they know it and they know how to network and they know how to call. And so yeah, this is great for you. I'm excited. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Muhammad is also new. You want to unmute yourself, Muhammad?
Sure. Thank you so much for having us, and thank you for the call. I'm in Suzanne's Kitchens team, and I'm really glad to work with her. She's a great lady, and wanted to have a quick comment about something that I learned from Mike Zappia in our last call, and he's an awesome guy, but he said something that someone else said that I met in person. So Mike said two things, actually, I heard. He said, I open, I do not close. And he said, find what they are made of before you tell them about the product, which is really very, very important, because oftentimes we just vomit on the person with whatever small knowledge that we have. And that's very inappropriate, because people will think that we're just there to sell them something, which is nothing wrong about selling. Selling is very honorable. I've sold since I was 7 years old, and I'm great at it. But I build the relationship first before I sell the client. And so I met Joseph Samuel Girard, and he's still the best salesman in the world that sold cars ever. So he worked for Chevrolet, between 1963 and 1978 for 15 years. And he sold 13,001 car in 15 years. That's 90 cars a month. 90 cars a month. So I asked Joseph when I met him when he was still alive, and I said, what is the secret? He said, the secret recipe, Muhammad, was I knew who they are before I sold them. And so if a mother came in, I needed to, without her children, I needed to ask how many children so that I can fit her in the best car. I did not sell her the most expensive car. I sold her the best car that would fit her. So guess what? In my 15 years that I worked there for Chevrolet, he said, I knew when they're going to turn at the age that they will drive. I knew when her children going to turn the age when they drive. So when they turn that age, by that time, I've sent them a greeting card on their birthday. I've attended funerals for people that I didn't know. I attended weddings. I helped them to do everything in my possibility so that they can know that I'm a human being that listens to them, not a car salesman. And I think if we just follow that, what Joseph Girard said, what Mr. Mike Zappia said about learning about them first, we probably would be able to sell a few thousand DBOs each. Thank you for having me in the call.
Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. It's all about relationships here. It's all about all the bouts and getting to know people and meeting them where they're at and seeing how you can best serve them. So thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. Michael mentored all of us on the screen here with, that's one thing he did drill into all of our heads, and I'm grateful for, is learn how to be interested and not interesting, right? Be curious. Daniel's saying he's been here 3 weeks. What brought you here?
Let me unmute. All right, I did it. Actually, Annabelle. It was interesting. She approached my wife, and I said, and I guess she asked my wife, I need to talk to your hubby. I had been in a couple of business before, and I was kind of a little bit burnt out at this time, not really wanting. And I kind of like avoided for a couple. And then I one day asked my wife, what's it about? And she goes, getting $1 back for your debit card. I said, get her online. We'll talk. Okay, set it up. And then when she showed me when we had the Zoom with her and Colette, it was just amazing. I hadn't really seen anything like this, and I was like, this is a no-brainer or too good to be true. And then as we went through it, I kind of knew a little bit about banking. I go, this is a no-brainer. So the first week was me just getting my mindset together to start doing this, and then the last 2 weeks I've been going at it. Yeah, and we were at Vegas. So we kind of
you got to feel
it. Yeah. So we're at Vegas. So I really appreciate all you guys, the Z team, and just and Annabelle. I've known her about 8 years, something like that. Yeah, 8 years. And we did something in the same business in the past together. So yeah, and I appreciate all you guys, and just so glad to be here and really start the revolution. Keep it going.
Thrilled to have
you guys
you,
started
Danny.
it already. Yeah.
Yeah, and he follows the system to the T, and I love it. Keeps me busy.
Keeps her busy. That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
You want to keep her busy, right? I love that. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing. I also, that's the number one thing I hear. It's too good to be true. And that's sad. That's really what we've all been programmed to believe. It's too good to be true. Well, you got to realize we are a lot of industries. We're the banking industry, which is billions of dollars industry. We're the e-commerce, which is $1 billion industry. We're in travel, which is the $1 billion industry. And we're not trying to make money off travel. We're not trying to make money off e-commerce. So we really can make those benefits down to the members. And I've never been more aligned with a company that is so heart-centered and so transparent and real and vulnerable and is trying to make a difference in the world. And I am so grateful to be here on this journey with all of you too. So I think we guys are all in the right place at the right time, as they say, and timing's everything. So Jeff, you guys, is there anything else before we head out? I don't want to end the call before.
Yeah, I could say, like, when someone asks if it's too good to be, it sounds like it's too good to be true. I say, well, just because it seems too good to be true doesn't mean it isn't.
Yeah.
And just leave it at that. It doesn't mean it isn't. And here's why.
I had a good family friend that I was explaining it to, and she stumped me. She asked me the question and I didn't know how to answer it. And I said, I'm going to have to find out. I'm going to ask that question and find out, along the lines of, oh, it's too good to be true. I'm explaining it and I'm hyped and I'm telling her how amazing it's going to be. And her question to me was, okay, so it's amazing. If it really works this good, it's amazing. But how does Transact make their money? I mean, they're not just taking $1, giving $1, taking $5, giving $5. How do they make their money? And I was stumped. I was like, I don't know, maybe on the swipe, maybe they get paid per swipe. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm going to find out though. Can anybody explain that to me, just so that when the next person asks me, I won't sound so stumbling and uneducated?
Absolutely. I would say my version, Jeff can say his version, Steve can say his version, but my version and what I've heard from Colette and what I tell people, and what we heard last night on the call, which corporate gave, was, when we had our cards, which there was only 20,000 of us, now imagine millions, they made $7 million in revenue on swipe volume. Nobody realizes how much money those interchange fees make. Number one, I think there's a bank on every corner, and sometimes huge mansion banks, at least in my town. There's a lot of money to be had in interchange fees. So that's one way. Two, they had 6,000 DBOs join in one day. 6,000 times 500. That's almost $3 million right there. We're not even talking about anything else. So there's lots of money to be made in here. Transact is not actually, it's not one of those companies that is trying to make billions and billions of dollars. It's in a trust, it's for its members. And it's hard to believe, I know, because I haven't found many heart-centered businessmen. We really have a company that, and if you were at launch, you would see and feel and know the amount of giving that this company is about. And so they're giving this and passing this on, and co-creating this with us. So that's how they're able to make the money. And like I said, they're not trying to make money. We're really not getting $1. We're just getting to buy down things to wholesale prices, because we're not marking them up and trying to profit off of them like Amazon's trying to profit off of their goods, and Expedia and Priceline's trying to, that's their business, is to make money. So we're not marking it up. We're passing on the savings, and it acts as a coupon. So those Z-Bucks mark, just like on Amazon right now, sometimes there's something on sale and it'll be like, mark here for 20% off. We really just get to slide the bar and buy things off for wholesale prices. So that's how they're able to do it. It's a really good rewards program, and they get a big chunk of those interchange fees, because the small banks, they don't have the customers like JP Morgan and Chase and Wells Fargo, these little small local community minority banks. They're willing to take less because we're going to bring them so much volume. Does that make sense? As a big-winded answer, but
Yeah. Now, and forgive me because I haven't gotten my card yet. I'm super new last week. So
Yeah.
Is it dollar for dollar? Like, I know one of the videos I asked or watched was, you earned 100 Z-Bucks and then you go online and you need a pair of Nike shoes for $100. Am I able to get the Nike shoes for $100 using all Z-Bucks? Or is the 100 Z-Bucks just buying the price down?
we are only buying things down to wholesale prices from like 25 to 60% off. There's some things that we know will drop the more that we can prove the concept to the merchants and have the volume. So things will go down more and more. But Peter Rancy, one of the founders just on the call, said that one thing is diapers. He's guaranteeing diapers will be at least 50% off in the store, which is huge because that's the one thing we promote on the slides. Really, you're just buying it down to a discounted price. Now, the beginning price isn't a high price. You can't find it. It's not like they're marking it up just to mark it down. They're not doing that. So one thing that they have promised is you're not going to be able to find it cheaper. And it's going to take time to get in there. So that's why my focus right now has been on the travel or the gift cards or saving e-bucks and letting people know you're an early adopter right now. That's why you're getting this card $25 for life. If someone would have offered me a Costco card $25 for life back in the day when it was Price Club, I would have, right? That's to buy down stuff for wholesale prices. That's what Costco is about. So For me, it's like they're getting the benefit of you're on a waiting list, an exclusive waiting list to be able to be a member of this club where you get $25 for life. You get 500 Z bucks a week until you wait for the card. And there's other ways to earn these with the gift cards. And you can use those right now, even as you wait for the plastic, you get to use those Z bucks and book some hotels, book some resorts, book a travel right now. And there's stuff in the Black Fridays right now too, like Minky blankets. That happens to be the owner and stuff lives in my town. And those blankets are hot commodity where I live. You'll never find anything more luxurious. And they really do cost that price. And so we're able to buy those. Some of them were like 60% off for those blankets and things like that, just right now on Black Friday.
And Colette also told us to, voice that we're taking pre-orders on the card. Authors do it all the time with books. We're taking a pre-order on the cards. I mean, Apple has, how many times have you put pre-order on your Apple phone, way back when? So, I think that that's an excellent wording to pre-order, and it kind of just like, they get that concept.
Yep.
So it kind of really, tackles that concern about, we don't have a card. Well, we're taking pre-orders, but this is phenomenal.
Yes.
Just like that. The
And
posture, the confidence, right?
Absolutely. 2 more parts. It's actually $2 for everyone. You get 2 Z bucks for every dollar you spend until next December. So it's not dollar for dollar. It's $2 for every dollar. Okay. And in the future coming up, which they announced at launch, we're going to be able to link any credit card, right? We're going to be able to link any credit card. And so they're going to get $1 for every 2 they spend. So it's the opposite. And in flash sales, you get to use your Z bucks for free. That's when we don't buy down. That's when things are free. I see that question in there in the chat. So, okay. Well, we've kept you on long enough, and it's Thanksgiving weekend, and I have 3 pies to make. Still, anybody else got any baking too? Yeah. So if you have any questions, there's in the chat, there's an email there that you can email, and we're collecting all those. We're going to make a really good Q&A for corporates. They're creating that. So
everybody have a blessed Thanksgiving, and be with your family, and just be very, very blessed, and gobble, 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 right? See you on Saturday for Super Saturday.
$. Y de ahí yo compro.
Hey, everybody.